Hello, how are you? Very good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. This is a series of conversation regarding more water for Baja California because it's such an important thing and we are worried. And we are busying ourselves getting to people how important it is to have water. The University of Baja California Sur, BCI, Baja California, Baja Coastal Institute, we are all getting busy. We want to see what is happening in Baja California. From today, we are going to start with 5 podcasts where we have engaged specialists carefully selected to deal with different subjects. The first subject today is about our situation. Monday, 7th of November, captation of water. Monday, 14th, then on the 21st, captation of water from the atmosphere. And on the 28th, we will be finishing our series of webinars. You see, it's a series of very interesting subjects. And we would like you to let us know where you are listening to us from, and so that we can answer to you and give you all the information. We want to show you a little video. In Latin America, there are lots of cities. I am really sorry, but I'm not getting the audio, sorry. For me, water is something that is basic for life, especially in Baja California South. This is the driest state in the whole republic. We are especially worried about the next generations. We have to share our resources and study. BCS is a study where we have very little water availability. We have less and less available water. We are polluting it. We are fighting a lot. Almost everyone is fighting to get water. We have to bring by truck or just getting someone to bring water back and forth. As citizens, we think that in the peninsula we have to be conscious of this problem and really care for water. That's why it is so important that all the institutions get involved. Let's participate in the reflection and the research of solutions to this subject. Of course, we don't have a lot of time. We have to act now. And here in BCS, we have very few resources. Why is water so important? It has physical, chemical characteristics that relate them with water. It is involved in all our daily activities. We haven't given it enough value because we see it like something that is natural, and it is natural, but it is worth its gold. We have to be conscientious of how to benefit from it, how to take advantage of it. We have done a lot of studies, but we have to take action. We don't have a lot of rain falling, and that's not enough for our state. Our rivers are getting emptier. We cannot change anything about the climate, but what we can do is our conscience towards the obtention of this resource. It's care, and we don't doubt that the whole society needs to contribute to the solution of this problem. Us in Baja California Sur will be pushing that way. The solution in the fight against this resource, we have to get involved and be conscientious about what we are offering the following generations. We need solutions. We need to plan to get a better tomorrow. So, could you see this video where we are dealing with all the subjects that will appear in this podcast webinar? You have a connection in English in YouTube. So this is the first day, and we are very honored to have the director of the University of Baja California Sur, to whom we are asking to give us a message. Very good afternoon. Thank you for the honor of inviting me to this exercise on reflection that, as I saw in the video, it is very clear that there is a collective effort. In that sense, I thank the initiative taken by the Council of South California of Science and Technology, which together with the Commission of Water, State Water, and BCI, they have proposed these webinars that is aimed to take conscience of the problem. From the academy, we took the position that against a problem that is as severe and important as this is, we're not talking about the future, but also in the present, it is crucial that all institutions participate in the same sense and that we manage to reach this objective. I know that those that are following us would like other other people to participate that know more than me. So I just want to reiterate the volunteer of the university that we will be responding to this sense of social responsibility, and any initiative, any from either from institutions or from the federal sites, we will be supporting them in this context. Thank you to Dr. Sara Díaz. It is 5:15 on October 31st, October 2022. To me, it is extremely, it's an extreme honor to declare these conversations titled More Water for Baja California South and Alternatives in our territory, anticipating that it is a great initiative that is looking especially at society and will be probably most likely supporting the ideas that are being given out in this webinar. Congratulations, success, and we will be following closely these important activities. Thanks. Thank you very much, Doctor. Let's start this first webinar, which is going to be about what the situation is in Baja California Sur. For this, we have Dr. Arturo Cruz Falcón, Dr. Cruz from the Center of Research of the University of Arizona, also María Flores, who is part of the organization, and now she is here as a specialist on management of water in Baja California. Let me remind you that we are also on Facebook, where you can ask your question, and we also have a presence in YouTube in English. We are going to start with Dr. María Zeta Flores. She's a doctor in water engineering and environment from the University of Valencia in Spain. She is now responsible for Sciences of the Water and the program of integral management from the University of Baja California. Doctor, please, if you would please give us your presentation. Go ahead. Of course, thank you, Sara Díaz. Thank you for your welcome and your presentation. Let's go ahead. Okay, this is the presentation, the correct one. Situation of water in Mexico, it reads. Thank you to this series of webinars, More Water to Baja California Sur. The subject I'm going to deal with today is related to the situation in our country. What is the national context? It is a subject really complex because our territory is very wide and heterogeneous. Water is a resource that touches us a lot of actors and environments, which makes it very difficult to manage it. I'm going to start declaring a consideration that probably as citizens of Mexico should be very, very clear. Today, we have a national water emergency. What does this mean? This means that the most part of the national territory has some sort of problem related to water. Like I show you in this slide, these are very concrete details, but they help us understand. Almost 2/3 of the municipalities of the country are being affected. If we want to know how water is distributed in the country, we have to be very clear that 76% of the water goes to the agricultural and cattle section. Then it's 14% for human consumption. The lack of water for all those that are listening to me has reached an extreme and complex situation that very many times residents of some village or other or location might even go to demonstrations and protests against the government. That means that when we started 2022, the figures of the crisis of water in Mexico were alarming. There's a drought. 8 out of 32 states in Mexico were suffering some sort of drought between extreme and moderate. This leads us to know and understand what the general situation in the hydric area in Mexico. After a lot of forums and talks, etc., I have tried to elaborate this kind of image. But if, for instance, you think we have to develop projects and sceneries about climatic change, what do we need? Data, personal, whatever you think, it can be implemented. It is very important to have data. It's to all of you that are listening. Without the data, hydrological, how much is it raining, how much is evaporating, how much is filtering, all the projects and all this taking information, it means that in Mexico we need to strengthen the system. The second point, people that are prepared, economy, hydrology, etc. Unfortunately, without this kind of people, we won't be able to take the real data. It's very important to get people ready in this sense. The following point is about budget. If we are not going, it is a very heterogeneous country, and to manage the situation both in the cities or in the mountains and in the coast, it's very difficult. So we need help from the government. Also, we need fines or sanctions. If we don't have those, we are not going to succeed. There are a lot of regulations, and they are very good, but very often those stay on the paper. We need to monitor works and technology. If we do not invest on those, we won't be able to canalize it and distribute it. It is very important to invest on those. Unfortunately, we are obsolete maybe 10 or 15 years with respect to other countries. We are getting behind. And how are we digitalizing the world of water? And last but not least, we need budget, we need finances. The people that are in charge of taking decision, without a budget enough, it is impossible to manage the resources. It's not enough with creativity and goodwill. We need a budget. To finish with, please, next slide. I'd like to determine precisely as the sum. We have to be conscientious about the amount of water that we have available. There are key sceneries that we have to think about. Not every aspect has the same weight. We know this everywhere in Mexico. We have to give more resources to water capturing, to treat residual waters. That is very important, and a problem that we share with other countries of Latin America. So that means giving a second use to water. We don't have the possibility of giving water only one use. These are the ones that have direct contact with citizens, and very often those organizations that are in charge of water are the worst. The nets of distribution in different places. We are working with obsolete material, maybe 40, 50 years old. All the techniques that we can implement to get water are going to fail because of having obsolete equipment leaks that happen in most of the municipalities. And a point with which I would like to finish up is the subject of budget. We don't understand it in general, but in the graphic, as you can see, the budget, the general budget in the last few years, this aimed at to environmental needs has gone down. Corporation has been going up and basic needs are going down. So the National Commission of Water has seen its budget reduced when in 2018 it had 32,000 million pesos budget. In 2021 it had 24 million. What does that mean? We are not giving it the priority that we need for works, for monitoring, for staff that is really prepared to fix leaks, for residual plants. And without a budget, we are not going to go ahead. From the United Nations, we have had more than 20, no, according to the United Nations, we have at the most 20 years to fix this water problem. So this is all. That is my email address, and I'm sure you will enjoy our second talk. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, Dr. María Z. Flores. Dr. Belle Cruz is our next guest. She's Doctor in Sciences and Resources of the University of Arizona, and in Hydric Resources. She works for the program. Dr. Belle, thank you for thank you for your presence, and please go ahead. Thank you. Good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their invitation and to all of those that are watching this presentation. So the first slide. I work in the University of Arizona, and recently I've been working in programs, trans-border programs, and also research aimed at dealing with the water problem and in the northwest of the country. First of all, why do we talk about water recharge? It is a natural process, but when it rains, but due to the organization of different ecosystems in the world, the natural recharge has been altered. So, for instance, we can see here that underwater and underground water in different regions in the world, for especially India, north of the American continent, and so those are bad scenarios, and the future is not very happy looking. I just want to call your attention to review what happens in the north of Mexico. I hope the colors are you can see the colors, but the recharge will be getting lower. What is happening in Mexico? Dr. María Flores explained. This is the country. Green represents aquifers that have water availability, where you can get going, you can get more permits to obtain more water. The red parts show where there is no availability. You cannot get permits. Let's see what's happening in the northwest of Mexico, especially Sonora and Baja California Sur, where red is predominant, almost more than the state in both cases. On top of this problem, the other is related to the influence to salinity, especially in places that are coastal, and also Sonora and Baja California Sur have similar cases. Salinity and other problems. Sorry, the sound is really awful. What options do we have to look into these problems? There are several options. Desalination, that is a proposal, an alternative that has its pros and cons. Increase the efficiency in water, especially in agriculture. More than 75–80% of water that we use in Mexico. If we don't increase efficiency, nothing in agriculture, no other solution is going to work. Then recharge, less than 1% of the water we have in Mexico is being reused. And I'm going to focus on this option, the recharge of water. What is the managed recharge of aquifers? We are talking about a series of methods that allow us to get water in the aquifers and store it there so that it's available in the future. What has happened in Mexico regarding this recharge? In these states that you see in a dark green, Baja California and the South, Sonora, Chihuahua, states of Mexico and City and Oaxaca, there are cases of researchers that have been working with projects on recharge. Unfortunately, in most cases, it has been just research cases, just limited by budgets, and there have been very few cases where there have been successful researches. So let me show you here just some data of the case in San Luis Rio Colorado in Sonora. They have been doing recharge works. These are the lagoons where water is infiltrated. In this case, they are using treated waters. And then there are also the lagoons where all the water was used. In general, what are the limitations that we have identified in respect to why we don't have more recharge projects? That is related to governing. Nobody knows how to get permits, what the regulations are, and also it has to do with facing these problems. Some researchers propose just to increase fiscal incentives, define the rights to the water that has been stored, increase the public inversion and other resources. So this is all. This is a summary in what is concerned to water recharge. And here you have my email address where you can contact me. Thank you very much. More detail to pay attention to. We are going to have Dr. Arturo Cruz Falcón. He studies availability and water quality. Thank you. This is my presentation. The main part of this webinar, which is the situation of water in Baja California Sur, I can say it is bad, very bad. Nevertheless, there are solutions. Let me tell you, because I've been working on this for over 15 years, the uncertainty of availability and quality of water is related definitely to water, to nature. It depends on whether we have more or less water. For instance, if there's a lot of rain or there are hurricanes, we might have more or less water. But there is an important aspect that we don't usually mention, which is the hydric instability depends on a good or bad management. That's a very serious problem we have in the whole country. And here in Baja California Sur is very clear. Even if sometimes we don't have hurricanes, which are the ones that bring a lot of water, there is rain in higher places every year. The availability we have in the aquifers, the ones that you see in red, the aquifers in red are not available, and the green ones do. But a lot of the ones that are available have the problem of being right next to the water, to the sea, and they become too saline. When you're close to the sierras, seems like there is a lot of water, and there is very, very little availability in a lot of the aquifers that are considered available, because at least he's got there's very, very little availability, and there are about 7 to 8 aquifers that have they shouldn't be considered available, although they are. And okay, he's just giving some details about some aquifers, and there's a lot of deficit in a lot of these aquifers that are unavailable, according to the reports from Conagua. The process of recharge in a lot of places in the world is that in the elevated areas, for instance, Sierra de la Laguna, there's a lot of vegetation, and also there are fractures areas. So water goes down, infiltrates, and it flows underground, and it gets to refill the aquifers. I'm showing you the area of the Valley of La Paz. What you see to the left in a square in white is the aquifer where most of the wells are accumulated. We extract the water. So what falls on the sierras flows underground, and it could be days or months or years until it reaches the area of exploitation. It's a long process. It's not when it rains we recharge them. Here you can see what the average rainfall. You have an average of 265 millimeters per year, and where it rains the most is around San Pedro. You see it in deeper blue, and the area of the East Cape, which in a near future is going to be overpopulated, and that is a problem. But as you see in the Sierra, the situation is very, very good. Here you can see the areas of Cabo Pulmo, Santiago, Los Planes. There is rain. We have water, but we have a bad management. That is the reality. If you see in the aquifer of La Paz, data from 2019, what you see in red has 2.5 grams salt per liter. And that is especially where the agricultural wells are located. Where you see in white is 1 gram per liter is water that has a high salinity. And so there is a problem with the salt water. In the north, you see in the center, there is, it's like 9.1 kilometers inland. There's, so it's quite, it's getting further. What you see in green, there are concentrations under 1 gram per liter of solid salts. So those are the areas that we have to protect and we have to preserve. And to that, we have to take the appropriate measures. There's too much. It's a lot of information for very little time. But anyway, here we see the aqueducts that are providing the city of La Paz. You see Carrizal, higher up San Pedro, and then the battery of wells that supply La Paz. And then it goes to different sectors. There are 7 million cubic meters from this data. 300 liters of water per person per day. Details from 2020. So when we open the tap, there are many colonies where they don't get any water. The Onzapas of La Paz has a concession of 23 million cubic meters per year, and he is overdoing it by 4 million per year. CONAGUA should go and tell everybody, why are you extracting so much water? The volume that you're allowed is 23 and you're taking 27 million. So there has to be some pressure from the authorities to go with delineations, that there must be measures. That is what I mean about bad management. Here you see that the estimate water that we misuse is between 30 to 35% because of leaks. Also, 4 to 6 million cubic meters per year because there are no measure devices. Meters. Since we don't have these meter counters, there is a problem with the organism that deals with that. As you see, there are solutions in short and long term. One solution of the deficit of the La Paz aquifer we would need to get meters and repairing the distribution, the net. Today, the natural availability at the moment is, you can see down below the details. If we see, so if we installed meters all over the place, we would reduce the amount of water extracted in 22.1 millions. if we fix it, there wouldn't be a deficit. There would be 5.7 cubic meters. But just if we manage to get to balance the use and the extraction, then that would be enough. We also have the problem of the bad management. Here, the federal, state, and national government has allowed an indiscriminate development. And you see the area of San Bartolo, Los Planes. There are a lot of developments that are being allowed. Mega project that has to change. And here on the right, you see a table with the availability with just San Bartolo. You can see the details there. And on the left, you see all the developments that have been allowed from Cabo Pulmo to Los Planes. So it is going to be a very, very big problem for the future. But authorities have to do their part. Citizens, of course, but authorities especially. Here you have, through an analysis that was done about the mega projects, hotels, houses that are rented, tourist rentals, etc., from Los Planes to Cabo Pulmo, to 2040, 50 million cubic meters of water are going to be needed. And the question is, where are we going to get them? Yes, some developments have already been approved with desalination plants, which, solves the problem partly. But this shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be established in our state. We have to slow down with development. If we keep going on at this rhythm, and with developments, traditional developments, super touristic, the waste, the lack of efficiency in water, it's going to be a very big problem. So, options to face the lack of water. What I mentioned about the aquifer in La Paz is short term. Meters, installing meters, we are going to regulate and have more water. But other options in the long term, treat. Okay, he's reading all these very fast. Efficient use of water, culture of water, treatment of residual waters to be reused, construction of hydraulic infrastructures, just such as dams and dikes, artificial recharge of the aquifer, harvesting of rainwater, using condensation in the atmosphere. And I'm sorry, I missed the last two. And now this is it. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. We know you have a lot to share. But this is a concentrated formula. So with these summaries are very, very valuable. We are going to look into the questions that we have received. And okay. So the first question: which are the future scenarios of water in Baja California South? Who is going to answer this? Dr. Belle. Unfortunately, in general, in the northwest of Mexico, situation is not very good, especially considering climate change. There is no generalized consensus on the pattern of water, but what what there is a consensus about is temperature is going to keep on increasing quite fast. We don't know what can happen with water. That is the negative part. The positive part, as Dr. Cruz Falcón mentioned, in general in Mexico and in many parts of the world, there is as a researcher says, crises are not so much for the climate because of the government and management. So if regulations that are on are really implemented, or we actually modify whatever needs to be modified, and then that would help us in the future. Hope I have answered. Thank you. So yeah, it doesn't look too good. One of the questions for María Flores. Concrete actions that can be taken by the citizens, like by the people. Thank you, everyone. What people can, they have a lot of responsibility in this subject of hydraulic crisis. So we have to work as a collective. Even if there are sectors that have a much bigger consumption, it is true that as citizens, the day that we don't have access to water, or the days that we don't have water, we really regret it. Give it the real weight and importance that it does have. So what can you do as a citizen? Let people inform people, let them know about this problem. Always be clear that we cannot waste water. If there is an opportunity of, for instance, change the way we use the WCs, eliminate grass in our gardens, being the driest state. Why do grow grass in this place? We have to pay our water bill. That is very important. And if we can go a bit further, implement any system of water captation in our houses. And in fact, we have a future webinar that is going to deal with that. Thank you. Okay, a question for Dr. Arturo Cruz. The lack of water in Baja California Sur is a matter of actual lack of water, or bad management? Good question. The subject of scarce water is due to low rainfall, 50%, let's say, and the other 50% is because of the bad management. It's not being administrated in a good way. If we keep on going like this, soon, I cannot say how many years, but we'll reach day zero. Definitely the federal government, through the CONAGUA and the state government and the municipal government through ONSAPAS, who distribute the water in the state, they have to participate and work on this. And the first thing before any works, how am I going to give water, good water, to a net that has a lot of leaks? And how is it going to reach homes, that water that is going to be wasted because there are no meters? We cannot know how much water is really being wasted if there are no meters. I believe that if water was administrated, if it was administrated in a private way, I assure you that in every home there would be a meter, in every shop, in every factory. That's the first thing we have to do. I don't understand why. I've mentioned it in meetings, workshops, to the municipal presidents, the water commission, and they don't give me real answers. I think we can get 100 million pesos to put meters in all the homes, and also keep on repairing the network so that there are no leaks. So that's the answer, 50-50. Thank you, doctor. Yes, these are actions that we have to implement in the long and short term at the level of citizenship too. Mayra Victoria asks everyone, the three of them, how long do we have until we start doing the captures that we need? Who is going to answer? Okay. We have to start now. If it's actions from citizens, we have to start now. We are lacking a lot of culture on water. There is a channel of the government. Why don't they use it to teach about the use of water? They are giving other informations, but why not water? What can we do? Just look after it. Look after water resources. At home, reuse, for instance, the water from the washing machine. At home, we use it to water plants in the garden. We don't have grass, please. We don't. You have to avoid plants that use an excess of water, and tell your neighbor not to chuck water out. If you have a leak, you have to fix it immediately. The problem is that we don't fix it because we are paying a fixed amount, and since it doesn't affect, we don't do anything. So it is necessary that authorities implement those actions, and consequently we do it. We need to be forced into it. There's a lot of measures that we can implement at home, but just as long as we do something, just one thing, it's good enough. Yes, like as we said in many other occasions, don't leave everything up to the authorities. Let's do something as individuals, and expand this culture of water. Another question from Maria Concepcion Vilche. Can we say that we are in an hydric emergency? He says it's a very direct question, but from my point of view, we are in a hydric emergency, because if we don't do anything or very little, like the excuse is for us citizens, we don't do, and the authority, because there is no budget, but you can manage it. You manage it for other things. So you can do it for the water. If we continue acting like this, yes, we are in an emergency. If we keep going on like this, very soon we'll reach day 0. Dr. Enrique asks to María Zeta Flores, the values of water availability that are reported in the official diary of the Federation, are those, can we trust them? Can we trust those details? How? Thank you, Dr. Enrique Troyo. Undoubtedly, they are quite reliable. That is the direct answer. We still need more work on the field. We need pumping trials, long duration. We are working on infiltration and vertical recharge methods that are totally obsolete, that are not related to the latest data. So that is where there is the importance of the hydrometeorological data. We should install hydrometric stations in all Baja California Sur. All the amount of water that falls from the rain just goes down and it goes into the Pacific, and we don't have, or the Sea of Cortez, and we don't have that. We don't know the amount of water really that is falling. If we don't have enough monitoring infrastructure, the decision taking is not very reliable. Thank you. Engineer Cristina Talamantes to Maribel. How can citizens take part in decision taking to improve management of water in Baja California Sur? I don't think I am ideal to answer this. Unfortunately, in Mexico, regulations give few they don't give you much option to take part of the decisions. There isn't a possibility for the public to actually be into the decision making. The law of national waters has two spaces. The like technical committees of underground water, which are not directly related to the use of water in Mexico or quotas, but it's more like underground water. Those spaces are more open to citizens to participate. There's at a municipal level, there are people that represent the civil organizations which participate in these spaces of the operating organisms. Further, at a federal level, the Comisión Nacional del Agua, CONAGUA, has a space where organization empresarial organizations participate, and that I can identify that as another area where citizens can participate. Neighbor associations could approach them and give ideas. Okay, one question for all three of them. Could you demand from water companies to carry out the maintenance of the installation? Sorry, the question is not very clear. What does it mean exactly? The wells network is dealt by the organizing organisms. So what is the question again? Could you demand these organisms to be responsible for the maintenance? Yeah, it is contemplated. They should do it, but it's not done that way. Yes, we should demand it. But look, there is a problem. Like Dr. Maribel mentioned, talking about management of water, authorities say that it allows us to take part, to be part of the decision making, make proposals, but the time I've been working on this, I've reached people reach conclusions. They send them to whatever authority is pertinent, but then they are not taken into account at all. At the end of last year, something similar took place. They reached very concise, very clear conclusions talking about water capture, but I wonder if the Commission of National Commission of Water took it into account. We haven't heard about it. So why is the government not doing anything? Because if we participate, at the end of the day, they take decisions without taking into account what we say. So we are in a bad way, and we have to do something about it. Okay, we are running out of time, but if anything that you want to comment, I would like you to mention in your comments what you think we should do urgently. Maribel, what do you think? I'm going to promote the subject that I have been working on for the last few years, which is water recharge. In the case of La Paz, there is a great potential to be able to identify what projects can be carried out. There's a lot of information. Maybe we need more, but we need to implement it as soon as possible. And another thing has to do, mentioned by my colleagues, to review personal, local, family consumption of water. How can we make the use of water more efficient? Arizona is one of the states in the USA that has grown fastest in the past few years, and they are still using the same amount of water, and that has to do with a much more efficient use of water. Very good. Thank you, Doctora Zeta Flores. Yes, thank you. I would like to finish up with two two things that we still need here. The subject of leaks, it's vital that we solve this problem. I understand it's very problematic, and it obviously implies a lot of logistic investment, and that unfortunately is not being solved in the rest of the territory of Mexico either. But we are wasting about half the amount of water available. We are wasting that. How can we complain that our state is the driest? And to finish with, as a conclusion, without data, it is very complex. It's very difficult to work. And the projection hydraulic in the state and the academic scientific part of this sector. How many headaches have we had because of the difficulty of accessing details of rainfall? How many meteorological stations are still active? Those are things that are basic. So it's very important to allocate a budget to, especially because we are the driest state in Mexico. So at least monitor the scarce or medium amount of water that we receive every year in a permanent and constant way all the year through. And thank you very much to all of you. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Arturo Cruz, your last proposal. Thank you. What I would say, I mentioned it before, there are many alternatives or resources, artificial recharge, etc. But as a priority, it must be the culture of water and the efficient use of water, such as Channel 10 did with programs that were very clear about how to save, how not to waste, how to preserve water. We can do Channel 8 or the Water Commission to offer information, and also as a personal thing in our homes, what we have to do with the use of water, how to save, fix leaks, etc. But our culture of waste means that we won't do it until we all have meters, because if it doesn't affect our wallet, if we don't fix it because we pay a fixed amount and it doesn't matter, until we get the meter and they make us pay what we are actually using, then we are not going to use an efficient use of water. So if we are conscientious, we also fail a bit in this matter. But with meters, bit by bit, fixing the network, and that is, in my opinion, the priority, to not reach day zero so close, but to preserve the aquifer and get time to find other alternative sources of water. What we have to do, but now. Thank you very much, everyone. To all those that are listening, and thank you to the people in charge. Cheers. Thank you very much. As part of the organization, there is the State Commission of Water, who are preparing educational programs, working with schools, promoting the culture of water. So they are part of our promoters in these activities, and they will be participating more actively in the following webinars. I could have said that this last last communications that were part of the final conclusions. But here are some final thoughts. We have heard from experts about the use of water and everywhere, but focusing on Baja California Sur and the area of La Paz and Los Cabos, where there is the biggest population, where it is foreseen that in the next 20 years there won't be enough available water. That's why it is very important for us to conclude as citizens. We have to be informed about this ability and care for it, take actions day by day in the use of water. Thank you very much to all of you. To our guests that had still a lot of things to bring up. Leo, if you can share with us what we have coming up. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone for bringing to us their knowledge. We have a diploma where it says the State Commission of Water, the University of Baja California Sur, and BCI, and one more that I missed, sorry. Diploma to Belle Cruz Ayala for her participation in the first virtual webinar on use of water. Thank you for being part of the network of scientists that are working on the use of water and the problems related. It is signed by some engineer and by me, Paulina, and myself. We have another diploma for María Flores. Another one for Dr. Arturo Cruz Falcón. More water for Baja California Sur. Thank you, everyone. And let me remind you that in 8 days and every Monday in November, we will be offering these webinars. Monday, November 7th, rainwater captation in an urban environment. See you then. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Cheers. Fuckers.